I study rap battles for a living.
Let's get into it, because Drake really tried to clown Pharrell for years, and now it's all backfiring on him in the worst way. What started as a petty little troll turned into a full-blown embarrassment. And the coldest part? Pharrell ain't even break a sweat. He didn't yell, didn't diss, didn't throw subliminals. He just let Drake burn himself out. And now he finally responded, but not with bars or Instagram posts. Pharrell did it the most disrespectful way possible, calm, classy, and completely unbothered. First, let's rewind. Drake's been weirdly obsessed with Pharrell for a while now, but it all really got spicy after his beef with Pusha T went nuclear. See, Push and Pharrell go way back. That's family. Pharrell helped shape Clips's whole sound, mentored Push, and always stood beside him. So when Pusha dropped the story of Adidon and aired out Drake's whole life, that wasn't just rap beef, it was personal. And ever since then, Drake been trying to get even, taking shots not just at Push, but at Pharrell too. Now let's talk about them chains. Pharrell had some of the most iconic pieces in the game. Custom Jacob and Comey jewels from the early 2000s. Art pieces, legendary hip-hop artifacts. Pharrell auctioned them off years ago for charity, and guess who swoops in and buys them up like a fanboy with a grudge? Drake. He grabs them all, then flexes them in the Jumbotron shot-popping music video like a trophy. And this ain't just casual flexing. This is Drake saying, I own your history. I'm wearing your legacy. Real disrespectful energy. But it gets worse. Drake ain't just rocked the chains. He went on record and claimed he melted them down. Yeah, in Meltdown, his verse on Travis Scott's Utopia, Drake bragged about taking the chains, dissing Pusha, and basically saying Pharrell's legacy meant nothing to him. All while Pharrell was literally a producer on the album. Let that sink in. You dissing the man who helped craft the project you rapped on. That's clown behavior, straight up. And here's where it all flips, because Drake thought he was being clever, thought he was throwing subliminals and looking tough. But what he really did? He exposed his insecurity. Instead of responding to Push with bars, he tried to get back at him through Pharrell, through jewelry, through sneak disses. Meanwhile, Push stayed chill. Pharrell stayed quiet. Kendrick, on the other hand? Oh, he noticed. Kendrick called it out clear in Euphoria. He said Drake was so scared to address him directly, he started dragging Pharrell into it. The line hit hard. You keep pushing chains in Pharrell, like that's gonna hurt me. Say my name. Kendrick saw through the gimmick. He exposed it. And in that moment, the whole culture saw what Drake was really doing. Dancing around the real smoke and picking on people who wasn't even trying to fight. And Pharrell? Still ain't said nothing. Still ain't tweet, subtweet, or send any energy Drake's way. He just kept it moving, letting the public figure it out. Until now. In a brand new GQ interview, Pharrell finally addressed the whole situation. And man, it's the most dismissive, soul-crushing response you could give someone like Drake. When they asked him about the chains and how he felt about Drake buying and flexing them, Pharrell said he didn't care. At all. Matter of fact, his exact words were basically, those pieces were auctioned for charity. I've moved on from that era. If someone wants to buy them, cool. That just means they're a fan of the culture. Whew. No venom, no clapback, just pure grown man energy. That's how you shut down petty nonsense without saying too much. Pharrell hit Drake where it hurt, not with the diss, but by treating him like a fanboy who's stuck in the past. You know what that response really did? It made Drake look small. All that effort, all that chain-wearing, verse-writing, chest-thumping, and the guy he's trying to offend doesn't even blink. That's next-level disrespect. Drake wanted beef, and Pharrell gave him indifference. And in the chess game of hip-hop, that's checkmate. Now here's where it gets even messier. Because once Pharrell dropped that GQ interview and calmly dismissed everything Drake tried to do, the internet went wild. Fans, hip-hop heads, and even casual observers started looking at Drake like, wait, you did all that just to get ignored? And the truth hit hard. Drake been doing the most for years, trying to get under people's skin, and the one dude he obsessed over the most didn't even flinch. That GQ moment was Pharrell reminding everyone he's in a whole different league. Drake may be the streaming king, but Pharrell's legacy is deeper. He ain't just a rapper or producer. he's a designer, a visionary, a global tastemaker. Louis Vuitton gave him Virgil's old job. Billionaire Boys Club still got the streets. The man's out here curating shows in Paris and changing fashion culture, while Drake over here bragging about melting jewelry like it's a real flex. That ain't a diss, it's desperation. And fans saw that. The ones who grew up on NERD, Clips, and those early 2000s Pharrell beats, they knew what them chains meant. They were history, hip-hop art, and the fact that Drake thought buying someone else's legacy would somehow give him power, that's when folks really started asking, is Drake just out here collecting trophies because he can't create legacy of his own? Let's not forget, Pharrell never came at Drake directly. He didn't say nothing reckless, didn't throw shade. He let the man talk, post, flex, and diss, and just observed. And that silence, it wasn't weakness, it was dominance, grown man dominance. Like, I ain't gotta prove nothing to you, bruh. That's the kind of energy that crushes egos. You can't win a war when the other side won't even acknowledge you as a threat. Drake been used to taking shots at rappers who bark back. Meek Mill, Pusha T, they came with fire. Even Kendrick gave him smoke on this latest run. But Pharrell ain't play that game. He just stood there, looked at the chaos and said, I'm good. That silence, that grown indifference, that's what exposed Drake's whole playbook. And then came the Kendrick factor. See, Kendrick ain't just destroyed Drake lyrically, he shattered the whole fake tough guy image. In Euphoria, Kendrick not only called out Drake for ducking the real beef, he highlighted how Drake kept using Pharrell's name like a prop. That line, you keep pushing chains, and Pharrell, like, that's gonna hurt me. Say my name. That exposed Drake's deflection. It said, you so scared of me. You bringing in people who ain't got nothing to do with this. It made Drake look weak, period. That's why Pharrell's GQ response hit harder than a diss track. It confirmed what Kendrick was already saying. Drake ain't really about this lyrical war. He throwing sneak jabs at non-combatants while dodging the real fight. It's like trying to start a fire with wet matches. You keep sparking, but nothing ignites. Pharrell ain't give him the fuel, he gave him silence. And that silence burned deeper. It also exposed how out of touch Drake might be right now. He really thought rocking them chains, bragging about melting them, and throwing a quick verse on Meltdown was gonna shake Pharrell. But Pharrell over here running luxury brands and speaking at fashion summits. You think he losing sleep over some chain flex? Nah, bro, he on different timing. And that's the part Drake didn't get. When you beefing with folks who already moved on from the arena, all you do is make yourself look stuck. Drake built a reputation on petty genius. He used to be the slick talker who could roast you in a caption, a verse, or a DM. But now, the formula looking tired. His attempts to clown Pharrell felt forced. And after Kendrick wiped the floor with him this year, even the fans started looking at Drake like he lost that edge. That old back-to-back fire, gone. Now it's just recycled sneak disses and chain stunts. And what's Pharrell doing through all this? Still getting by, still smiling, still untouched. He didn't just win the beef, he made it clear he wasn't even in the ring. And somehow that stung worse than any diss could have. He made Drake look like a fan, a collector, a man chasing ghosts he can't catch. And the culture, they peeped that loud and clear. Now here's where the spotlight really starts burning Drake up. Because after Pharrell curved him with grace, Drake's whole alpha image started cracking at the seams. See, for years, Drake built his brand on being calculated. A smooth operator, someone who could flip shade into streams, turn drama into dominance. But this Pharrell situation, it didn't play out like that. He lost control. Instead of looking cool, he looked corny, like a dude trying too hard to press someone who ain't even checking for him. Think about the irony. Drake dropped a song called Meltdown, thinking it'd make Pharrell sweat. But the only one who melted down was Drake. All that energy in the verse, all that disrespect, and the target straight up shrugged it off. And not only that, he did it while sitting pretty in GQ, probably wearing some 5K custom shades and talking about his next luxury collab. Like, bro, that's not a win, that's a flex on a whole different level. And to make things worse, the fans turned on Drake too. They peeped the desperation, especially after Kendrick aired him out for dragging innocent people into their beef. You could scroll through comments and see folks saying stuff like, "Why Drake still talking about chains?" Or, "Pharrell's the blueprint. Drake's just mad he can't touch that kind of legacy." People weren't even laughing with Drake no more. They were laughing at him. That's when you know the tide shifted. It's not just that Pharrell responded, it's how he responded. He didn't go low, he went high, real high, grown man high. He didn't give Drake the energy because he already knew what Kendrick exposed. Drake's whole angle was weak. No weight, no real sting, just surface-level disrespect disguised as confidence. And when you got someone like Pharrell, who's built an untouchable legacy across music, fashion, and design, shrug you off like a minor irritation, that's worse than a diss track. That's reputation murder. Plus, Pharrell's whole brand is love, elevation, and evolution. So when he gets disrespected and still don't engage with the drama, that just reinforces his legend. And Drake, who used to be the king of petty plays, ended up looking emotionally unstable. You bought chains just to troll a man who never said a word about you. That's not boss energy, that's fan behavior. And the culture don't salute fan behavior from dudes who call themselves top tier. Even deeper, Drake exposed a bigger problem. He don't know how to handle indifference. If someone claps back, he ready to spar. But when they treat him like background noise, he crumbles. Kendrick didn't even say his name for months, and Drake still dropped push-ups, family matters, and the heart part 6 trying to bait him. Pharrell gave zero response, and Drake still spiraled into lyrical tantrums and jewelry stunts. It's all performative now. No weight, no threat, just a man screaming into a void. Meanwhile, Kendrick and Pharrell out here representing two different kinds of dominance. Kendrick's taking heads with precision bars, showing he's the lyrical god. Pharrell's doing silent damage, moving like a king who don't even need to lift his sword. And Drake's caught in between, trying to swing at both of them and missing every time. He's punching shadows, and the world sees it. That's why this whole Pharrell moment is a turning point. Because it ain't just about one interview, it's about what it revealed. Pharrell didn't even address Drake's name directly. He addressed the symbolism, the meaning behind the chains, and he made it clear, those jewels don't define him. They're part of a past he's already grown beyond. And Drake, he's still living in that past, hoping it'll make him feel powerful. But real power ain't in jewelry or subliminals. Real power is when your legacy speaks louder than your words. Pharrell got that, Kendrick got that, and Drake? Right now, he looking like he lost his blueprint, running on fumes, trying to recreate the magic from Take Care and Nothing Was the Same, but stuck in a loop of petty shots and uncalled for name drops. And when the people see you falling behind the ones you used to mock, that's how the throne gets snatched. So while Drake's still posting cryptic captions and wearing Pharrell's old chains in music videos, the real grown men in the game, they're stacking legacy. Kendrick's running stadiums, Pharrell's running fashion, and Drake, he running out of moves, fast. Now here's the final nail, because this ain't just about Pharrell ethering Drake with silence, or Kendrick calling out his weakness. It's about the culture deciding who they really respect. And the more Drake reaches, the clearer it becomes. He ain't got that grip on the streets no more. Yeah, the streams are still there. Yeah, he's still breaking Billboard. But culturally, creatively, emotionally, he's getting clowned. And Pharrell didn't even have to say Drake's name to be the one who really ended him. Let's be real. Pharrell's power move didn't just end the chain situation. It exposed Drake's whole playbook. For years, Drake's been trying to style on the world with money, name drops, and subliminals. He gets into beefs, throws little lyrical jabs, and spins them into albums. But when he ran into people who ain't even want to play the game, like Pharrell and Kendrick, he cracked. And the fans saw it in real time. No more mystique, no more aura, just a man out of moves, out of touch, and out of sync with what matters. And Pharrell ain't even trying to win in this situation. He's just chilling, rocking runway shows, mentoring designers, curating whole vibes with Louis Vuitton and still producing when he feel like it. The man's legacy already sealed. Drake, still trying to prove he's that guy. Still doing 10 features a year. Still pressing vinyl variants to get them first week sales. And the crazy part is, the more he works to stay hot, the colder the reaction gets. You could see it with the Kendrick beef. Drake threw everything at him. Bar for bar, verse after verse, interviews, memes, AI clips, and even a weak attempt at an emotional closer in The Heart Part 6. But it didn't hit, won't we? Because once the mystique is gone, the bars start sounding like noise. And now that Pharrell basically said, "I don't even care about your antics," it's like the whole world finally looked at Drake and said, "You trying too hard." And you know what's even wilder? Drake probably thought buying them chains was a genius move. Like, I'll show him who owns this. But he forgot. You can't buy respect. You can't melt history and think you own it. The culture don't work like that, especially when the people you're trying to play already move beyond the chains. Pharrell's legacy isn't locked in diamonds. It's in sound, style, and silent power. Drake might own the metal, but Pharrell owns the moment. Look at how Pharrell handled this compared to how other artists beef. He didn't weaponize the press. He didn't go on a media run. He didn't call on fans to ride for him. He just smiled in GQ, said a couple slick grown man things, and dipped. That's what real influence looks like. Quiet control. The kind Drake used to have before he started shouting for attention in every verse. And let's talk symbolism real quick. Drake literally bragged about melting Pharrell's chains, but all he really did was destroy something historic just to feel tough. That's not power, that's desperation. That's like torching a museum piece because you can't create your own legacy. And once Kendrick pointed it out, once Pharrell dismissed it, and once the fans stopped caring, Drake's whole move looked childish, like a kid stomping on a toy he doesn't understand. At this point, Drake got two options. Either grow up and evolve like the legends he once admired, or fade out still trying to be the petty prince of hip-hop. The truth is, people don't outgrown that image. Kendrick grew. Pharrell already on another planet. Even Cole took his step back with class. But Drake, he's still stuck in 2015, thinking a chain disc gon' hit like back-to-back. But the game done changed. Now, when fans look back at this era, they won't remember the jewelry. They won't remember Meltdown. They'll remember how Drake tried to belittle a legend, and that legend just yawned. They'll remember how Pharrell made him look like a fun without even trying to. And they'll remember that Kendrick said what needed to be said, and Drake ain't have no real answer. So yeah, the chains got melted. But Drake's credibility? That's what really got burned. And Pharrell? He walked away untouched, unfazed, and unfuckwithable. He didn't have to diss Drake, he outclassed him.